Hi guys, Coach Carter here. Just coming out with a video regarding our three primary upper body lifts for high school athletes. So if you saw a previous video, you know that I utilize the tier system. So we have three primary upper body, three primary lower body, and three primary total body lifts that we cycle throughout the week with our kids. These 9 lifts will change based on the athlete you're training, based on their training years, based on the sport they're training for. But generally, if we're talking about younger high school athletes, or specific to strength power type sports like football and I think basketball and baseball and track could fall into that category as well. I think these 9 lifts are going to set you up for a great foundation of strength and athleticism in your kids. So specifically focusing on our 3 upper body tiers, we have bench, dumbbell incline bench, and dumbbell overhead press. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So our number 3 exercise we're going to focus on is dumbbell overhead press. So a couple cues I have. You also might consider this a sitting military press, but we do variations, so I like to keep it more general as this overhead press. I'm pushing dumbbells above my head. I want to have full extension at the top. I don't want to stop at this position. I want to go all the way to extension with the elbows, and I want to go all the way down so the dumbbells touch the shoulder. I want a controlled movement. For all 3 exercises that you're going to see in this video, you should have a spotter behind the lifter. For the video purpose, I did not have a spotter, but normally you would have a spotter for dumbbell exercises guiding the dumbbells up and down, and for bench press, making sure that bar gets into the rack position at the end of the lift. So for the standard dumbbell overhead press, I'm actually sitting down in this one, so this would be more standard military press, but quickly with the video, all the way up, all the way down. The really biggest cue is I want the dumbbells to hit the shoulder. Again, I'm full range of motion coach. I want to get my athletes all the way up, all the way down. I feel like having full range of motion keeps the kids healthier on the playing field. So, if you tell kids to go an inch above their shoulders, they'll start pushing that to 2 inches, 3 inches, and before you know it, they're doing something like this. So, for me, the biggest cue is to keep the dumbbell touching the shoulder before they go back up. Again, here's the video. Nothing too outlandish here. All the way up, all the way down. If kids start using heavier weights, they'll start struggling a little bit more. That's when the spotter will really come into play. I think hopefully one of the biggest takeaways you guys will get from this video is the variations I like to use. So throughout the 6-week cycle, we won't be doing straight military press all 6 weeks. We won't be doing straight standing overhead press all 6 weeks. We do have variations. So the first variation is standing. You utilize a little bit more of the core. You don't want to bounce with the lower body. You just want to have an up and down motion with the upper body. If the kids want to slightly bend their knees when they start, that's fine. Another variation is hammer grip. So instead of having the thumbs into the neck, we'll have our thumbs facing backwards, and then we'll be going up and down in the hammer grip position. Again, this is just working a little bit different head of the shoulder. And another variation we like to do is alternate press. So instead of both arms up at the same time, we'll go 1, 1, 2, 2. And something as simple as alternating the reps gives the kids a lot of energy in the weight room. It's different. Even though essentially the same muscles are being worked out, that little caveat will really get the kids excited about your lift for that day. So if I were to go back to this programming page again, you would see that if I looked at dumbbell overhead press here, so this would be week 1. The standard overhead press for this cycle was standing up. So that would be week 1, 4x12 standing up. Week 2 would be 4x10 sitting down. Week 3 would be going 4x10, 5 straight with your left, 5 straight with your right. Week 4 would be alternating like a piston, up, up, 2, 2, 3, 3. And then week 5 would go back to standing, and week 6 would be going to military. So even though the base exercise is working the shoulders and the traps, it's still changing a little bit. And I think this is really critical to keep your kids on their toes in the weight room, keep them engaged. If you just throw the same workout every day, every week, for Friday, for Monday, for Tuesday on the whiteboard, the kids will start getting stale. And A, you're going to have, with PE classes and weightlifting classes, that's when you have behavioral issues. But B, the kids aren't going to be as motivated to work out, which is going to limit their strength gain. So you definitely want to stay out of in the strength coach world, especially at the high school level, you want to stay out of the realm of hey, this is what the lift is. Get it done. I don't want to hear complaining. That kind of world, to me, can really burn out kids at this age group. You want to make it, I don't want to say it's a free-for-all, it's just fun, but you do want to keep them engaged, that they're actively trying to improve their mechanics and their lifts every week, and they're trying to get stronger. Okay, our second tier is dumbbell incline bench. Another, pretty standard upper body exercise, a great builder of the pec muscles. So the higher the incline goes, the higher up on the chest you're working. So we normally start at a 45-degree angle, but depending on the bench you have, you can go a little lower, a little higher. We don't want to go straight up for incline press because then you're taking the emphasis off the pec and going to the shoulder. So again, this is what the exercise would look like. Same cue, pretty much for military, going all the way up, controlling it down. Want the dumbbells to touch the top of the shoulders, as you can see. Again, young kids will want to go an inch above. Make sure they get down. If they can't go down with good form, then have them use lighter weight. A big cue with dumbbell incline is I want them to gently drop the dumbbells when finished. So you can see me here, putting them to my knees and then dropping them down gently. You'll see a few things with this age group. They'll either go up and they'll drop them like this, which obviously is an injury risk. Also, the dumbbell can fling around and hit your spotter's feet. The big one is also they'll come down and they'll just drop them from a high distance. And the problem with that, and I learned the hard way, is that these suckers, even, it's metal or steel, whatever you want to call it, they crack. And these things are really expensive and you don't want to be constantly replacing them. So A, it's an injury risk. B, they're really expensive to replace when they break. So it's really important that kids gently drop them with control when they're all done. So we also have variations with the incline bench press, similar to how we have variations with overhead press. We can do hammer grip, so thumb straight back. Kids will probably be able to do slightly less weight with hammer, but again, it's still working just a different part of the shoulder and pec. Alternate press, so they'll be going one at a time, and then 5 left, 5 right. So these variations, again, keep your kids stimulated, get them engaged at a higher level, which we hope leads to more strength and more engagement in the weight room. So finishing up with our tiers, our number one upper body tier is the barbell bench press. Pretty standard exercise in most high school weight programs. We feel it's a great builder of the upper body anteriorly, so the pecs, front of the shoulders, you get some tricep work in there. I guess I should have prefaced this before. You'll see 3 pulls. You'll see 3 push exercises as our core tiers: bench press, incline, and overhead. You're pushing away from your body. We will include pull exercises to work posterior chain in our daily upper body tier workouts. So we're going to do our rows, we're going to do our pull-ups, we're going to do our flies to work the back of the shoulders. But for the actual tiers and our emphasis, we're going to be doing equal amount of pushes and pulls in the weight room. So for a tier's sake, we have the tiers as pushes, but we will have an equal amount of pulls complementing that to make sure our body is staying balanced. So I should have segued that a little earlier. But regarding the bench press, a couple cues. Again, fully extend. Make sure the bar touches the chest. That's a big one for me. Again, we're dealing with high school aged athletes. I want full range of motion. I know there's block bench exercises. I want the bar to touch the chest to go all the way back up. Again, the common theme is if you have the kids go an inch above, it'll turn to 2 inches, turn to 3 inches, and then you got quarter benches go, and you're really hurting the full range. So I definitely want to have the bar hit the chest. Another cue that's not on here is I want the eyes to be under the bar when you guys begin lifting. So right before I unrack the bar, I want to have my eyes directly under it. This is going to prevent the bar from hitting the hooks on my bench. It's also going to prevent me from having too far of a reach for the spotter. So bar and eyes should be aligned before the lift off. But regarding the actual lift cues, bar touch the chest, keep the feet on the ground. When the feet come up, you lose some lumbar strength, and that's going to affect your maxes. And then make sure to have a spotter. So nothing too exciting about the actual lift. Obviously, we're going to be hitting the anterior part of the chest. Barbell, I like to do for bench. You can load obviously the bar with more weight. Kids get excited about that. We get the unilateral work in with the tiers 2 and 3 of the exercise we just talked about. The variations, they don't move around as much for bench. The variations I have on here are a little more advanced, but you can do eccentrics, which means you're controlling it down at a specific time frame. Lightly touch the chest at the bottom and explode up. So if I were to go eccentric bench, I could go on a 5 count, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go up. So time under tension, it's going to really focus on that eccentric movement of the lift. You can do iso bench. You could hold it at the bottom for a 3-second count. Again, you got to still keep the tension at the bottom, but at the end of the 3-second count, you push it back up. If you let the bar just sit on your chest at the bottom, it's going to be losing the tension. So you need to. So again, an example would be down, hold it at the bottom, 3, 2, 1, explode up, and it's just working that specific movement of the bench press. And then you could also use dumbbell flat bench, which we will incorporate. But I would say the variations come into play a lot more for for exercise 2 incline bench, exercise 3 overhead press. We mainly just focus on the straight barbell bench press to really tear up the muscles and really get the kids prepared for maxes. Okay, for the programming, I prefer linear model for all of my tiers. So we'll start high rep, we'll go low weight or low intensity, and they'll gradually flip by the time we get to the 6 week. By the time we get to the 6 week lifting, into the 6 weeks of the cycle. So I start with high rep, low intensity, gradually decrease volume and intensity. Percentages will only be used for bench press in terms of the cycle because that's the only lift we test. So if I were to go back to a program here, if you guys looked at, let's look at bench at the top. Okay, so we would start week 1, 4x12 at 55%. So high volume, low intensity. We're really trying to develop lean muscle the first real 3 weeks of the cycle. Get a lot of volume in. Again, high volume is important for the high school age group because they're getting a lot of reps and they have to get the muscle memory, right? We're not talking about a 5-year weightlifter of college experience that's in college, right? They got to learn the movements. And by doing reps with lower weight, they're going to be more proficient at those movements over time. Week 2, 4x10 at 60. Week 3, 4x8 at 65. Then 4x6 at 70. 4x5 at 75. We end our cycle with 4x4 at 80%. Now, this can change a little bit, but I got away from doing singles and doubles with high school age kids. The weight gets too heavy, safety issue, and I feel like I really want them to get more volume in, unless we got a really specific group. And if I'm dealing with shot putters and discus throwers that are getting ready for CIF finals, I might hit some singles to really max out their strength. But if you're just starting out, but if you're a young high school athlete, stay in the 4x4 80% range and then max. So week 7 would be maxing right here. Now we're going to hit our singles, or if you guys, I'm going to put out a testing video, but we do conversion maxes. But if you want to hit single for max, great. But we're not going to throw that into the cycle normally. We're normally going to stay at, we can go 4x3 85. Rarely though for the tiers are we going to go higher than 4x2 at 90. I like to develop lean muscle, get more volume in. The weights, the kids are still going to get plenty strong doing 4x4 at 80. I mean, you'll see the growth if they stay on the trend of this cycle. So again, you can see how the tiers kind of mix in. So Monday we'll do upper body tier 1, which is bench. Wednesday, upper body tier 2, which is incline. And then 3, upper tier 3 would be on Friday. And even though it says overhead press, our variations make these exercises a little bit different as the 6 week cycles progress. So I've seen a lot of benefits. I've seen a lot of success doing upper body tiers in this format. Again, there's a lot of other upper body lifts you can do. We focused on 3 push exercises. You got to put in pulls with your workout. So for example, on bench, right? Okay, we have bench, but we also have dumbbell or barbell rows included in that day. We have incline bench, and we also have a push-up to row or flies included in that day. So even though the tiers are based on push exercises, we're equaling them out with pulls to make sure we're getting the posterior chain work. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys picked up some good knowledge.